You absolutely have to move right now. Are you even listening to me? The metallic shriek of the bus brakes barely covered the piercing, entitled voice, slicing through the quiet morning commute like a dull knife. Sarah, her hand instinctively tightening around the chrome grip of her white cane, felt a surge of cold dread pool in her stomach. Seriously, this is happening? Before she could even form a polite response, a heavy, impatient hand clamped onto her elbow, yanking her forward with unexpected force. The cheap, synthetic perfume, a cloying scent of overly sweet vanilla and desperation, flooded Sarah's nostrils as she struggled to maintain her balance. Excuse me, this is priority seating. I'm sight-impaired and… Karen, a woman in an aggressively tailored pastel blazer and sunglasses perched atop a perfect blonde bob, wasn't listening. She was already halfway into the seat, shoving Sarah's cane out of the way with her immaculate leather tote bag. Priority for my schedule, sweetie. I have a critical board meeting in 10 minutes, and I haven't slept. Okay? I need to sit down. Why are you even riding the bus if you're like that? A collective, audible gasp swept through the bus cabin, a sound thick with stale coffee breath and simmering resentment. Sarah's throat constricted, making her intended sharp retort nothing more than a ragged sigh. She could feel the heat rising in her cheeks, but beneath the embarrassment, a familiar, granite core of fury hardened. Don't you dare let her win this. The sign clearly states this seat is reserved for seniors and persons with disabilities, Sarah said, her voice surprisingly steady, though it trembled slightly on the last word. I have a medical need, and you have 2 perfectly empty seats right across the aisle. Karen let out a dramatic, exaggerated groan, sinking deeper into the upholstery. Oh, please. Everyone has a medical need these days. Look at you, you look fine. Are you going to keep wasting my time with this pathetic performance? Do you know how much money I make in an hour? Every second you delay me is money I could be contributing to society. She punctuated the accusation by slamming her phone down on the armrest, the screen displaying a brightly colored business spreadsheet. Contributing to society? Does she actually believe the garbage coming out of her mouth? Suddenly, the familiar thrum of the diesel engine ceased. Mike, the bus driver, a man whose face usually wore the permanent, weary expression of someone who had seen too much, stood up, his large frame blocking the narrow aisle. The silence was immediate, thick, and demanding. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not moving. Not 1 inch, Mike announced, his voice booming and amplified by the interior microphone. Ms., you need to vacate that seat immediately and apologize to the woman you just physically assaulted. Karen scoffed, crossing her arms with an air of superior indignation. Assault? Don't be ridiculous. I simply encouraged her to move. And who do you think you are, stopping a public transit vehicle? You'll be fired for this. Do you know who I am? I'm calling the corporate office right now to report your pathetic little power trip. She fumbled for her phone, her fingers shaking slightly, betraying a flicker of genuine panic beneath the bravado. Power trip? No, Mike, this is justice. The tension was suffocating. A young man near the back, wearing headphones and a quiet gray hoodie, slowly and deliberately raised his phone, ensuring the camera was pointed squarely at Karen. This silent act seemed to amplify Karen's rage. Stop recording me, you loser. Are you going to stand up for this fraud? My mother had a bad knee, and she never demanded a seat, she shrieked, the vanilla perfume now seeming to curdle in the heated air. Sarah took a deep, steadying breath, the scent of Mike's fresh coffee easing her nerves. She pushed herself upright using the seat back, facing Karen directly. Actually, this is not a performance. And it's not just about the seat, is it? She said, her voice dropping into a register that commanded attention. It's about control. It's about assuming your stress is more valuable than anyone else's existence. You just physically attacked a woman, who you incorrectly judged as fine, to save 30 seconds. This seemed to pierce Karen's thick skin. She opened her mouth to launch another volley, but the driver was faster. Karen, you are incorrect. The bus is equipped with security cameras, and I am currently connected to a 911 dispatcher. The police are on their way. Mike's eyes never left hers, the exhaustion replaced by a steely resolve. Karen's face went white. She lunged toward the rear door, but Mike had already flipped the master lock. She was trapped. Oh, the sweet, sweet sound of a locked door. The secondary twist landed minutes later, just as the police cruiser's siren wailed outside. Karen, hysterical, was screaming into her phone, attempting to salvage her critical meeting. Yes, I'm stuck on the bus, but I'm coming. I'm still the best candidate for the regional director position. I promise. Just tell Mr. Henderson I'm... She stopped abruptly, her eyes huge as saucers. She stared at Sarah, who was calmly adjusting her blazer. One of the arriving officers, a stern-faced woman named Officer Reyes, stepped onto the bus. She listened patiently to Mike's account, then glanced at Sarah. Ms. Sterling? Are you all right? I saw your car parked at the transit center. Sarah nodded, a small, knowing smile touching her lips. I'm fine, Officer Reyes. Just a minor altercation with a commuter who needed the priority seat more than I did. The officer turned to Karen, who was sputtering indignantly. Ma'am, you are being detained for assault and public disturbance. Please step off the bus. Karen gaped at Sarah, then back at the officer. But she's blind. Why are you listening to her? I'm the one trying to get to the Henderson Group headquarters. I'm interviewing for director. Officer Reyes sighed, pulling out her cuffs. Yes, ma'am, we know. Because Ms. Sterling is Mr. Henderson's executive director of public relations, and she was doing a segment this morning on the importance of accessible transit. She was assessing our community outreach by taking public transport today. She owns the car you saw parked outside. The snap of the handcuffs echoed through the silent bus. The gasps this time were of pure, unadulterated shock. Karen, dragged backward by the police, her perfect bob now slightly askew, let out a desperate, guttural cry of denial. Her critical board meeting was not only lost, but the person she assaulted was her potential future boss's most trusted advisor. Karma is a faster traveler than public transit, isn't it? As the police car pulled away, taking the screaming, defeated Karen with it, Mike addressed the passengers. We are delayed, but we are safe. The bus erupted in scattered applause and murmurs of relief. Sarah straightened her cane, her posture radiating quiet strength. She had endured the entitlement and the physical pain, but she had stood her ground. It wasn't just a victory for a disabled passenger. It was a loud, clear declaration that kindness is non-negotiable and that dignity deserves priority over any rushed agenda. Sometimes the universe throws a massive roadblock in your way, only to reveal a highway sign pointing directly toward justice. Next stop, Main Street, Mike announced, the engine roaring back to life, carrying a busload of people who had just learned a priceless lesson about respect.